Welcome back to Vlogmas. In today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit different and I wanted to share with you guys what my favourite books of the year have been. So I've got two piles right in front of me and we're just gonna dig into them because it's a bit of a random mix. So there's gonna be no rhyme or reason to the order of these, but these are the books that I really enjoyed this year. We've got The Sacred History by Jonathan Black. Now, this book it's really hard to put into words. Does that mean that I'm still trying to comprehend all the ideas in this book? Yes, and I think this is a book that I'll need to read multiple times. There is so much in this, but The Sacred History, How Angels, Mystics, and Higher Intelligence Made Our World. If that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what will. The stories retold in this book, taken together and told in sequence, represent a sort of folk history of the world. But more than that, they work on many different levels. They are part of a mystical tradition. Many describe dramatic events not in the physical world, but in the realms of gods, angels, and other spiritual beings. Many follow people who entertain gods and angels unawares, or travelers between the worlds who slip through into alternative realities. These stories may show what it feels like when the spiritual realm intrudes on the everyday, when spiritual beings break through, when we suddenly feel a presence, or when we, unwittingly perhaps, step through into a world that is different, upside down and inside out. Many of these stories have loomed large in the collective memory, but can still quicken the blood today, because they represent great turning points in spiritual evolution, or to put it in modern terms, turning points in the evolution of consciousness. According to mystical tradition, this evolution is the unfolding of a divine plan. Great spiritual beings led us era by era, stage by stage, drawing us out and helping us to evolve. When we fight, when we love, when we're tested to our limits and find a kind of victory in a kind of defeat, we are following in the footsteps of gods and angels, following patterns of meaning and behavior that they have laid down for us. Amazing book. It's kind of like a retelling of history from like the creation of everything through different events in history and telling them as if the spiritual aspect of them is fact and real and is what was like as that was concrete, so that angels did exist, that gods did exist, and that they caused certain events, and that this is how the world was actually created. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's a very intriguing book. If you're intrigued by different ways of thinking and about history and about the world as we know it, excellent book. This book, Holistic Tarot, An Integrative Approach to Using Tarot for Personal Growth by Benabel Wen. Chunky guy. I have a little collection of tarot books and they've all been really useful to me in different ways. And I think this book was the next step in my tarot journey. It's really filled in like a gap so I can take the next step into being able to do readings for other people, not just like friends or people I know, but being able to do readings for strangers confidently, because that's a huge step. That's a huge leap to make. This book, it is very juicy and very full of really practical information. It's very intellectual, and Benabel Wen also has a website that I visited, and you can really tell she's a very intellectual person. I don't think there'd be many people in the world currently that have put more research into tarot. And yes, she's got her own approach, but I think this book, it could definitely be used by total beginners. Could be a little bit overwhelming, but I think so many books on tarot just cover the basics and they don't link things together and help you to go deeper into tarot. And this book definitely does. I've taken it to the beach. I've spilled coffee on it. This is a book that I'm intensely studying and it's useful to me, so I am not precious with it. Yeah, highly, highly influential book on my year this year. So this book is another book that's really influenced my, I'd like to say magical practice, but I guess magical understanding and research, because I do practice tarot quite a lot, but I tend to do a lot more reading about magic than I do actually doing magic, which is something I want to change in 2024. And this book I think is really going to help me do that. So it's called Standing and Not Falling, A Sorceress Primer in 13 Moons by Lee Morgan. And it says, the other world is ready for you, but are you ready for the other world? What would you tell your own less experienced self about magic if you could go back in time and make a better start? That is the question this book seeks to address. What might you need to slough off? How far might you need to walk from the comfortable and familiar to truly embrace a magical life? Like it says, it goes through 13 moons and each moon is a chapter. And it gives you a different concept to work through and a different exercise or ritual within that moon. It's so much more appealing to me than a lot of books on witchcraft that I feel like really, again, stay in this like super basic level. And not to say I'm experienced by any means, but they talk about like money spell, love spell, these crystals mean this and this means this, but it's not really giving you the principles behind like the energy that magic is. This is a really beautiful book. This is a really deep, profound book, and it really brings you into magic and witchcraft a lot deeper than I think a lot of books do, but it's also really nice and concise. So yeah. It is so hot today. Cherry tomatoes, these. These ones from Aldi. Excuse me. So delicious right now. Cold from the fridge. Perfect snack. So Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. A metaphysical guide to meditation, magic, and manifestation. So many exercises in this, and he leads you through them in a way that makes sense. And one of the reasons why I love this book is because you don't need crazy tools. You don't need much more than just your mind, you know? It gives you the how do these things work? Why do they work? Kind of thing. So excellent, excellent. And just a beautiful, beautiful cover. Okay, an art book finally. So we've got The Art of Fantasy, a visual source book of all that is unreal by S. Elizabeth. Now, this is just an incredibly inspiring visual delight of a book. It has a whole range of fantasy art. It has really old art from the 1600s. And then it's got, you know, an oil painting from 2022. It's got a whole range of fantasy art, not just focusing on modern artists, but giving us a whole selection. And it is just stunning and very inspiring for someone who really enjoys fantastical art. So I got that, The Art of Fantasy, for my birthday, and I also got this for my birthday. So this is called Eat Weeds, a field guide to foraging, how to identify, harvest, eat and use wild plants by Diego Bonetto. And it says there is food within 3 meters of your front door. I've been getting quite interested in weeds and in their medicinal properties. The fact that we have these plants growing everywhere that people think of as a pest, but they're actually incredibly nutritious and offer us so many benefits. And they're everywhere. So this book in itself is Australian, which I really wanted a book that was specifically Australian so I could go out in my own environment and find the weeds easily. So far, I've gone into the backyard, I've picked dandelions. I had a little dandelion salad, which is quite delicious, and identified a few of the other weeds we've got in our backyard. But we do have a plethora of dandelions, so that's good because dandelions are so good for you. There's also like river weeds, there's ocean weeds, so it talks about like seaweeds you can eat. And yeah, it's a very beautiful book. There's lots of beautiful photos, there's recipes, but the most intriguing and useful thing to me is like how you can identify the different weeds, and then yeah, what you can how they can be used as medicine, how they can be used as food. So love that. Now, this book is one that I've been delving into for a couple of years now, and it's called Energy Medicine by Donna Eden with Dr. David Feinstein. And Energy Medicine, balancing your body's energy for optimum health, joy, and vitality. This, if you know what kinesiology is, this book is very much that. It is about tuning your energy field, having a healthier energy field, why you want to do that and how to do that, different exercises. If you're interested in energy and your body's energy fields and working with them, I would say this is an amazing textbook. It's got a lot in here. A lot of it focuses on physical health. There's some sort of mental, spiritual health stuff as well, but a lot of it is physical. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that like may not be pertinent to you, but it's really, really useful information. It will give you a really good knowledge about your body's energy. So yeah, I've been marking this up, highlighting, reading, doing exercises from this book. I need to get more consistent. I do it and then I drop off, but it's definitely something that you need to integrate for maximum benefit, integrate as a daily practice. But yeah, really, really good book. Also, I really love book smell, and I really love like that. This is that shiny textbook paper. I really love that smell. So, The Magic of Tarot by Sasha Graham. Bring enchantment and luminous energy into your readings. This, I would say, is this and this, just totally different vibes. Holistic Tarot, more intellectual. Magic of Tarot, more magical, emotional, intuitive-y. So it's about using your tarot in spells, in witchcraft, and different sort of like rituals, and it's just like a different way of thinking about tarot, which is definitely more intuitive. And this one, you know, I'd say this is more like woo-woo, if you know what that term means. This is a bit more woo-woo. This is a bit more grounded. So you can sort of, that has that kind of vibe. This has more of a spiritual vibe. Okay, so we've got the only fiction book in this whole video. I did read other fiction books this year that I did quite enjoy. I read a few on my Kindle though, so I don't have them. I thought I would just share this one. I mainly read non-fiction, as you can probably tell. I'm starting to get back into fiction because there's nothing better than just turning your brain off and reading a really great story at the end of the day. So this was one of them. This, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This was just a really good time. This was a great time. Comedy, horror, really cool, I thought really cool like point of view, like the main character and the main characters being these housewives in the South in the 80s that, you know, it just is such a group of people that just gets overlooked and just, you know, they're just not taken seriously. And I think this book, it was really cool that that was from the book was from their perspective and dealt with the problems they deal with in their lives. And some great horror-y, creepy moments in this, but just also some really funny laugh out loud moments. I loved this. I really want to read more by Grady Hendrix. So, excellent book. Now, we're on to the last two. We've got Lying by Sam Harris. So this is like an essay, like it's a tiny, tiny little book. It's more of an essay than a full book, but it will drastically change how you think about lying and even little white lies. In Lying, the best-selling author and neuroscientist Sam Harris argues that we can radically simplify our lives and improve society by merely telling the truth in situations where others often lie. He focuses on white lies, those lies we tell for the purpose of sparing people discomfort, because these are the lies that most often tempt us, and they tend to be the only lies that good people tell while imagining they are being good in the process. So it covers a lot of stuff, and he makes a really, really compelling argument that really inspires you to stop telling little white lies. And, you know, you might be thinking, oh, you know, some lies, they're to protect other people, protect people's feelings. You know, we can't all go around, you know, just being callous and saying what we think all the time. But like, he covers that. He covers, you know, he answers questions and answers what your misgivings and thoughts might be on his kind of radical idea that we should stop lying altogether. So I would recommend this. I got this from the op shop, $1.50. That is where I get a lot of my books, actually. Not so much some non-fiction, but fiction, op shops, great place to get fiction books. You never know what you're gonna find. Oh, my foot is dying. Oh, my foot's dying. All right, we're on the last book, so home stretch. My foot is dead. Now, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Estes? Probably pronounced that wrong. Contacting the Power of the Wild Woman. You can tell this book, she's been loved. And this book is just inspiring, groundbreaking, poetic, and really has the power to change your life. It's not a self-help book by any means, but it's an inspiring guide to living and staying wild and creative as a woman. And it's a work of art, this book. Work of complete art. Can be a little bit difficult to understand some of the concepts. Maybe that's just me. But I think you just need to go with it. Some things you don't understand, you might understand and pick up better on a second reading, but just getting into the flow of this book, you'll really start to, it's a book that you feel. It's a book that you understand, but you also feel it. Like all good art, you know, it's in here and it's in here. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different than videos that I normally do, which are very art heavy, but yeah. Who doesn't love books and reading? And, you know, hopefully I've given you a few little recommendations you might want to pick up. So, see you in the next video. Okay, bye.